Alternate reality games are far from being a recently conceived concept. ARGs are interactive stories told through a networked series of media whose connections to each other are discovered by their players. The concept of an alternate reality game may predate the internet by over half a century. The concept of it may appear in the 1905 short story, The Tremendous Adventures of Major Brown. The 1988 British miniseries, The One Game, features a businessman get involved in a titular reality game in which he goes through various challenges in which he explores his past at the same time as his life comes under threat. Additionally, as shown by these examples, alternate reality games do not need to be internet-based. They can use other mediums as a base for clues to be found or story progress to be made. Some ARGs have included physical clues in places where players must travel to, sometimes being far enough apart to require multiple players around the globe to uncover them. Located in Burlington County, New Jersey, is an area referred to as Ong's Hat. It lacks population, is referred to as a ghost town, and is sometimes noted for its odd name. The name's origin is unclear. Some say it refers to a hat owned by an individual named Ong, which was damaged in some way by their lover. It has been said it was stomped on and thrown into a tree, staying there for years, or sometimes said to have never been thrown into the tree, staying on the ground after having been damaged. The hat hanging off of the branch is apparently what led to the town gaining the name, it being used as a landmark in the town. Another theory states that it is a corruption of Ong's hut. It is mostly agreed upon that Ong is a surname and that the individual's first name is Jacob, though some sources seem to disagree with this, some stating that the individual's first name is a mystery. One source gives the town a founding date of 5 February 1631, its first settlers being Francis Ong, his wife, and his children, Simon, Jacob, and Isaac, coming to America from Suffolk County for religious freedom. This Jacob was the father of the Jacob Ong usually mentioned alongside the town, whose birth date is given as being around 1672. The most well-known and definitely most bizarre tale revolving around the former settlement is an alleged community intending to isolate itself from the rest of society, being based in the forests in and around the town in the late 1970s and the 1980s. The swampy geography around the area provides an advantage to anyone trying to hide something. An individual, Joseph Matheny, allegedly discovered multiple pieces of literature pertaining to this group, referred to as the Inkanibula Papers, reportedly published by a company named Inkanibula Press. An incunabulum refers to any paper published in Europe prior to 1501, which is centuries before any significant date listed in the papers. One of the texts chronicles the history of a group known as the Moorish Orthodox Church of America. One of its members, known as Wally Ford, was a landowner in the region who had recently returned to the United States after the Soviet-Afghan War. He started the Moorish Science Ashram and created the Institute of Chaos Studies, which had a laboratory constructed deep in the forest. The research performed there was odd, frequently involving psychedelic drugs and quantum mechanics. Two of their members, siblings named Frank and Althea Dobbs, had apparently lost their positions at Princeton University when they attempted to submit a thesis about cognitive chaos, a theory suggesting that once an individual is able to unlock the full potential of their brain, they can control bodily functions such as tissue repair or aging, manipulate matter, even travel in between universes. This research led to the creation of a machine called the Egg that enables travel between universes. The machine worked by presenting odd visuals on a computer screen to put its user into some sort of altered state of consciousness. At some point, the machine and one of the members of the group had vanished and reappeared after minutes of panic completely intact, returning from a parallel universe. A universe like ours that lacked a human population. Two different explanations for the fate of this group exist. One states that they went to the alternate universe to start a society there, or the project was shut down by the shadow government. Regardless, no remains of the alleged building exist in the area, just forest. It is quite obvious that this story is fictional or fictitious. Once again, different sources have different explanations for its purpose. The most common one explains it as being an attempt at making a story that, while odd, could have some minuscule amount of possibility to it, causing it to be ingrained in some way within culture. Assuming this is true, Matheny's plan worked to an extent, as it was given its own place in internet history, becoming known by some as a proto-alternate reality game. Matheny had also published a book titled Ong's Hat at the beginning and recorded an audio interview with two men who had allegedly grown up as part of the ashram. He also published a brochure titled Ong's Hat, Gateway to the Dimensions, which detailed the experiment with the egg. In order to spread the story, he included it in envelopes to be sent with people who had subscribed to similar newsletters. The story made its way onto the early internet, and when the internet began to become more common, he posted it to bulletin boards. As a result, the story spread across the internet, gaining enough traction for New Jersey county offices to be contacted about the place. Hikers had gone there looking for any possible remnants of the unusual experiment. A bartender reported being asked by a group of young men if they knew anything about Ong's hat, to which he searched it up on Google and found out about the unusual stories. Matheny also had to deal with people attempting to contact him in person. In 1999, he chased an attempted robber off his property at gunpoint. The following year, a group of people came to his house, this time without ill intentions, to ask him about Ong's hat, him knowing what they intended to ask him before interacting with them. A name commonly mentioned in his writings is Robert Anton Wilson. He was a writer who is best known for writing the Illuminatus trilogy. In Matheny's writings, Wilson is mentioned as having been a member of an organization named the Formless Ocean Group alongside Matheny. It is described as being based in Santa Cruz, California. From this group is where Matheny had learned of the Inkanibula Papers from, and thus learned of the egg experiments from. However, just like the Institute of Chaos Studies, this organization is fictional, not existing outside of the universe of Matheny's writings. Matheny has published and worked on numerous works other than Ong's Hat. The same year that he published Ong's Hat at the beginning, he published a book titled Game Over, which chronicles experiments with the intention of building a device capable of accessing the Akashic Records. Akashic Records are records which would detail every single human event, thought, or emotion that has occurred, is occurring, or will ever occur. The concept of these records is not an invention of Matheny, rather originating long before the writing and publication of the book. Additionally, the words ashram and akasha are both of Sanskrit origin. Other books that he published or contributed to that stand out to me, considering his involvement with Ong's Hat, include This Is Not a Game, A Guide to Alternate Reality Gaming, YouTube, An Insider's Guide to Climbing the Charts, Covert Culture Sourcebook, The Art of Memetics, and Robert Anton Wilson, The Lost Studio Session. As time progressed, pages related to the stories disappeared, as it usually is on the internet. Some stayed up, despite being mostly forgotten by their creators. Ironically, it creates what is essentially an internet ghost town, paralleling the fate of the town of Ong's Hat, and showing relics of the internet's past and how it influences modern internet culture.